Hello everyone and welcome back to Newegg TV. I'm Steve and today I'm going to do an overview on this AVerMedia capture card. This is the Live Gamer HD. Okay, a quick look at the box before we open it up. I want to mention a couple things about it. Of course, this is a capture card and the idea of this particular capture card is to capture your game footage. Now you can record it or you can stream with it. It has the HDMI in and an HDMI out, so you can use it as a pass-through. But beyond that, I just want to talk about a couple things on the box before we open it up. First and foremost, a couple badges on the front. One that it's Windows 8 compatible. Also that it provides a bonus free 3-month premium license for XSplit. So if you're interested in streaming via XSplit, an excellent program if you want to use that. There's other software out there as well, but they are providing you with 3 months for free on the premium side. So let me just flip that around and show you guys a little bit more about this particular product before we jump right in. This is actually what it looks like. It is a PCI Express interface, basically X1. And it uses an HDMI or DVI connector. It's actually just HDMI connection on the back, but they probably have an adapter in there to swap it from that to HDMI. Bottom line is, though, you do have the HDMI out as well, which is not being shown by a little label, but I know it's right there. So you can run as a pass-through as one of the particular configurations. Also, it has H.264 encoding built into it. That basically is going to help you be able to offload some of what the CPU would normally have to do in order to compress video and do it on the fly for you. So just basically less overhead for your system while it's running the game. This is going to help out with that. They also provide for you this little hot button, which is essentially like a small hockey puck button that has LEDs in it. And it lets you know that you are recording. Also, it gives you a quick and easy button to push that's not on your keyboard. So if something happens and you just want to hit that button really quickly, you could do that. You could also set it up to be the streaming start and stop button as well. On the right side at the top here, they have the software here, the ReCentral or RecCentral or however you want to pronounce it. Is essentially the AVerMedia's software. In fact, I believe they came up with a new version of that now as well. So you want to go to the website and download that from AVerMedia's website. It's going to allow you to set up different profiles, set it up to actually stream for this particular software, as well as record your footage directly to your hard drive, and then later you can edit that into a YouTube video if that's what you do. Also, you can record some voice commentary with your gameplay using this software. And let me just show you one last thing down here at the very, very bottom are the different supported resolutions. Everything from 640 by 480 up to 1920 by 1080. But one thing you want to keep in mind is, although it will accept 1920 by 1080 at 60 frames a second, it actually will only record 1080p at 30 FPS. So keep that in mind. All right, so we're going to start with the accessories that came inside the box first, and I'm going to talk to you about the Live Gamer HD manual here, the user guide, and I'll flip through to show you guys a couple of the things that are inside of it. I think the most important part of this manual is the configurations. You want to get a good look at these because they are going to show you how you can set up your particular system and how you're going to be recording and what you're going to be capturing from, because you could technically capture from a console if that's what you like to do, if that's what you like to stream as well. So just keep that in mind. Let me see if there's another page here. There's a couple more here as well. But yeah, so it just gives you an idea of all the different kind of configurations you can work with this. That's probably going to give you a little bit of an idea. And they also give you that gift card that I mentioned before for 3 months of the premium version of the XSplit license. So keep that in mind that you are getting 3 months as well. A couple different adapters, as I mentioned before. I actually thought they might have them, which they did. HDMI to DVI connector here. I'm not going to rip it out of the plastic, but you guys get the point. Also, an DVI to HDMI adapter. So depending on which way you're going and what kind of cables you're using, you'll be able to use either of those. Then we also have a 3.5 millimeter audio cable, and that is analog, but you'll be able to use this in order to transmit the audio across, depending on what you're using. You'd think maybe it'd go across HDMI, but you don't always have that option. So then they give you another HDMI cable, or an HDMI cable, I should say. And here's that button that we mentioned earlier. So you can basically hit this on the fly whenever you need to start and stop recordings or start and stop going live. Then, of course, we also have a USB connection at the other end to allow that to connect. And there are LEDs underneath the red here that light up. Depending on what you're actually doing, it will glow in different ways. Also, they have the software CD, which they gave you kind of attached to this little knob here. And of course, that'll give you the Windows 7 and Windows 8 drivers. But you're going to want to go to AVerMedia's website and pick up the most recent version of the software. So, moving right along onto the main event here. Here's the actual capture card itself. Now you can see what they're doing here is just have a sort of a heat sink here that's kind of protecting the area below it. Actually, it's not a heat sink. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, see? It's not a heat sink at all. It's actually a big gap there. You can actually see my shirt in between there. But a little badge there showing you exactly what you got in your hands. The LiveGamer HD hardware encoder. Then if I flip around to the back, you get a look at the PCB there. And essentially, it's just going to plug into your X1 PCIe slot and give you connectivity for HDMI out and HDMI in. So it's going to capture from here and output that to your monitor if that's the way you want to configure it. That'll also, the HDMI in can come from your video card or from your different other sources like a console, for instance. Also, you have the analog audio. Oh, let me turn it so you can read it. Audio out and audio in 3.5mm plugs here. I want to mention a couple other things too. System requirements I didn't mention so far. You're going to want to have a minimum CPU of, let's say if you're Intel Core 2 Duo E8400 2.4 gigahertz processor, or an AMD Athlon 64 by 2 5600 plus, and that is a 2.8 gigahertz processor. Then you're going to want a video card, a discrete video card. Specifically, they're saying that a VGA card with support for DirectX 9C or above, 512 megabytes of RAM, as well as an empty PCIe X1 slot. Actually, technically, you could use this in any PCIe slot. You're going to need Windows 8 or 7, 32 or 64-bit. Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and start up the software real quick. This is the Rec Central or ReCentral or Central, whatever you guys want to call it. Let me just show you a couple things. Basically, this is going to be a quick overview of the software and a quick demo. Give you guys an idea of what you'll be using if you end up going with this particular AVerMedia device for your solution in capturing your footage. Then if you want to start up here, with it starting up as Windows starts up, you just click that check mark, obviously. You can save your videos to any desired folder you want on your hard drive. You can edit your profiles here by clicking this, and depending if you want to export them or import them as a backup from something else, you can do that as well. Also, it's the only place to remove them, so you actually make too many or you don't want the extras, you can do the removal of them there. Transparency can be changed there. Currently, the on-screen display is not available in current PC mode. I'm currently in current PC mode, which basically means I'm streaming from the current PC. It's using the video out from the iGPU that I currently am using to demo this as the out, and then it's going to the HDMI in on the AVerMedia card, and then using the HDMI out to this particular monitor. That would basically describe to you what I'm currently doing. We'll start at the top tab here for bulletins. You go down the list here of all the different news that they have available. Currently 9/27/2013 is the most recent one. Going on to captures, if you were going to capture this particular footage, as you go down the line, they give you this kind of wheel here that allows you to choose between the different interaction method to basically utilize the different software on this. So if I was going to go to Newbie, meaning if you have no idea what you're doing with streaming or capturing footage and you don't have any experience with that, you could go to Newbie and essentially just say, what am I currently using? Well, right now I'm using the current PC method. Other PC method would mean I have a secondary system that's doing the gaming, and this system would be completely dedicated towards capturing and streaming. So that would be the other PC version, and if you were using a game console, obviously. So I'm just going to click Detect, and you can see here it's giving me a little preview window, and then we click Ready and it would start up. But essentially, they're recommending this configuration. I believe I'm using something slightly different. I think I'm at 20 megabits per second, which I can show you here in a moment in the Pro mode. But I want to start with Newbie and go to Pro, and you can see some of the other settings here and what you can set them to. Other PC, game console, whether or not you're using HDMI or DVI, that's important in case there's maybe possibly HDCP, or more importantly that the audio is run through HDMI as well, which you can see here if you're using the HDMI as the audio, or if you're changing it to the audio in using the 3.5mm port there, you could plug that into your sound card and plug it into the capture side of the audio in. Or you could use a separate microphone, like right now I have the Snowball connected to this, or you can save it as a separate MP3 file and change the different encoding settings for that. Video format, MP4 or TS, both using H.264 and AAC for the audio. Resolution, I set it to the maximum, 1920 by 1080. You could also set this down, well, let me just show you all of them, from as low as 0.3 megabits per second all the way up to 60 megabits per second. I think the other one I had was up to 20 as a maximum. Audio bit rate, 256 kilobits per second as a maximum. Frame rate, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, 30 is the maximum, and whether or not it's interlaced. Then if you wanted to set up different hotkeys for starting and stopping the video, snapshotting it, or recording the audio from your microphone. And then when you're ready up, it'll start up that as well. So we'll go back out and go down to amateur. And amateur was in between the two. Sorry, I didn't start in that order, but I actually kind of like amateur because even if you know what you're doing, you get a little diagram with the way you'd set it up. You know, for other PC, for instance, see how it's going from one PC into the other PC, and specifically where you'd be plugging it into that capture card, and then the HDMI out going to your monitor. Then of course, if you had a game console, that's how that would look as well. You can change your video source, just straight up here. Audio source, your video settings, and it also gives you a little remaining time. So depending on the size of the hard drive you currently have, I have 15 hours and 25 minutes worth of capture on here. So that'd be great if you were doing something for a live stream that you were just going to go hardcore and you just want to record this too. You know, KB Mod likes to do that stuff all the time. We're going to discard these changes. Oops, I accidentally closed the entire program. Let me just go right back up there. And continue on from streaming. Actually, there was one thing I did miss, time shift. So, it's not, you can't do it on current PC, but basically what time shift would be is allowing you to record footage on the fly for, I believe, up to an hour, and you have this pool of footage that you can go back through by just moving a little bar. You're basically scrubbing backwards in recorded footage, and then you can hit record and it'll cut a clip out of the last hour's worth of footage that you've had. So you can find that point where you were playing and you just really kick some serious butt, and you say to yourself, you know what, I want to keep this clip. So you run back over to the streaming system, you know, scroll backwards and record that footage to a file. So it's kind of nice. So we're going to skip forward to streaming now. The different streaming services that this is compatible with, obviously Twitch TV being one of the biggest, Ustream, Nico, and you can set up your own custom RTMP server with settings there, whether or not you're going to use a proxy, your username information. You can also run a speed test. We'll back out of that. Same idea here. You know, you can go back through and set up your different settings. So let's say when you stream, you do a different setup than when you're recording and you're capturing, you know, because you're going to want different settings for that. Current settings that we have here are just below, so at any given time you can just drop into a different configuration profile, and it would switch to whatever settings you have set up for that particular run, whether it's going to be capture or streaming. Then I just clicked on that button there to show you the videos that were recorded prior. I don't actually have any here, but I would like to record something just to show you guys what you can expect in terms of the quality. Okay, so currently I'm recording from the Rec Central right now, and the Rec Central software, I should say. Let me go ahead and go to our YouTube channel real quick. Whoa. There we go. Oh, that's right. We have the new footage from this.
What the heck is a 3D printer? Christmas used to be simple.
Don't worry, sir. You can just go to Newegg.com.
Yeah,
To
Paul.
50% off on TVs, cameras, headsets, video games.
Even 3D printers.
Fun fact, Kyle hurt his back on that.
Prepare the sleigh. We're going to Newegg.com.
Sir, we can just use the tablet.
Oh, that's the
Oh,
spirit.
Santa.
Newegg.com.
He's so funny. All right, everybody, that just about wraps up this overview of AVerMedia's capture card, the Live Gamer HD. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to click the like button, and if you haven't already done so, click subscribe to any of our various YouTube channels, and we'll see you soon. Hello everyone and welcome back to Newegg TV. I'm Steve and today I'm going to do an overview on this AVerMedia capture card. This is the Live Gamer HD. Okay, a quick look at the box before we open it up. I want to mention a couple things about it. Of course, this is a capture card and the idea of this particular capture card is to capture your game footage. Now you can record it or you can stream with it. It has the HDMI in and an HDMI out, so you can use it as a pass-through. But beyond that, I just want to talk about a couple things on the box before we open it up. First and foremost, a couple badges on the front. One that it's Windows 8 compatible. Also that it provides a bonus free 3-month premium license for XSplit. So if you're interested in streaming via XSplit, an excellent program if you want to use that. There's other software out there as well, but they are providing you with 3 months for free on the premium side. So let me just flip that around and show you guys a little bit more about this particular product before we jump right in. This is actually what it looks like. It is a PCI Express interface, basically X1. And it uses an HDMI or DVI connector. It's actually just HDMI connection on the back, but they probably have an adapter in there to swap it from that to HDMI. Bottom line is, though, you do have the HDMI out as well, which is not being shown by a little label, but I know it's right there. So you can run as a pass-through as one of the particular configurations. Also, it has H.264